Hey guys, welcome to the class today. It's Chisomobona here, and I welcome you to this class today. All right, so in today's class, we are going to learn how to create this on Photoshop. I am excited to be teaching this as much as I know that you're excited to be learning. So it's a very simple design actually. So as you can see, we don't have much layers here. So it's a very simple design. So I'm going to walk you through my process, how I was able to create everything here. Now, the whole idea of creating such minimalistic and simple design is so that those of us that have not gotten the hang of Photoshop would be carried along, because of course the projects we have tomorrow is a little bit tougher than this. Most likely not actually, just the whole idea behind it though. So we are going to be learning a lot of things just by replicating this. I'm going to also be showing us around to image editing, text manipulation, and of course creating a simple and minimalistic background like this. So let's get right into it. So I'm going to be creating the next design here. It's going to be here. The both of them are going to be here. All right. Then I'll come here. This is artboard 4. All right, this is it here. Come to your adjustment layer. This is your adjustment layer here. All these panels here, they are called your adjustment layer. Just click on it, then click on solid color. All right, now this is the color we are presented with, but we don't exactly want this color. We want something darker, something like this. So this is the color code. Okay, let's make it a bit lighter. Yeah, this is the color code here, 002630. 002630. So if you want to use the color code, if you want to follow exactly what I'm doing, you can just write down the color code here. If you write the color code, it will change to that particular color. Then you hit your OK. All right. Then when you are done with that, you now upload your image. So we want to get our image. So I think it's here in my download. Okay, this is the image here. So upload your image. Of course, uploading images on Photoshop it's very easy. All right. So if you want to do that, just click on your file manager, then drag and drop your image. If you don't want to go through that route, and that process you can use is your file. If you come to your file, you come to place embedded, it will take you to your file manager. Here in your downloads, you can now pick your image. This is the image here. Click on it, then click on place. It will immediately place your image to your canvas. All right, so that's another way of uploading images on Photoshop. So we want to remove the background of the image. It's very simple, trust me, it's a very simple process removing the background. Click on select here, click on subject. All right, go to this panel, click on select, then click on subject. Once you have selected your subject, you hit your layer mask. Okay, add layer mask. Just click on add your layer mask, then it will immediately remove the background for you. All right, then if you want to if you look closely, you see that our background or this particular image has some little is like stroke around it. All right, so we need to refine the edges. So it's very simple. It's a very simple process. All right, so just double click on this layer mask, this one you created here. Double click on it, it will bring you to select and mask this property here. It will bring you to where you mask your image. Then come down, just go down, then click on decontaminate colors. Click on decontaminate colors. Just click on it. All right, exactly, then you hit your OK. Can you see it has disappeared? So that's the work of that decontaminate color. This is it before, this is it after. Now we can now delete this one, because of course it duplicated the image, so, and hid the initial layer. All right, so we can now delete this one, then convert this one to a smart object. Just right click and convert to a smart object. All right, let's scale down, then increase your image a little bit and drag it down. Now we can now write the future. All right, we can write the text. the future. Let's increase the size. All right. Future. Okay.
I knew I
Hi everybody, welcome to GT Coding. In this tutorial series, we are converting this Figma design into a real website using HTML, CSS and JavaScript.
Sorry for the interruption. Okay, so right now we want to use a font called New Power. All right, New Power Ultra. So that's the font we are going to be using. Increase the size. Increase the size well. Okay, we can just leave it here. I think it's okay here. Then we change the color. If you want to change the color, you can double click here to highlight the image. All right, to highlight the text. Or if you don't want to double click here, this is my property panel. You can just enable your property panel. All right. So if your property is not here, just click on Windows, then come to properties here, enable the property. Okay, so that's if your property is not available to you here. All right, then you can click on, I want to click on the color here. I want to use a yellow color. I think I love this yellow, so let's use this one instead of this very bright one here. All right, so for text editing, that's what we want to do now. That's what we want to learn now. How to, or before we move to our text, let's just handle the image first. Before we move to editing our text, let us edit our image first. All right, so first thing you do to the image is make it black and white. For you to be able to do that, it's pretty simple. Come to image here, click on adjustment, then click on black and white. All right, go to image, click on adjustment and click on black and white. Then you okay it like this. All right, so you have see the adjustment layer here, the black and white adjustment layer. Then the next thing you do, come to filter, click on camera raw filter. All right, zoom into the image because we want to be able to see what we are doing. Then come to light here, increase the contrast, increase the highlights, reduce the shadow, drop the shadow well enough. Then come here and reduce the black. Shouldn't be too black, just reduce it. -60, I think it's okay. Then you come to effect, add texture to the image, clarity. Let me add a lot of texture. All right. Then you come to detail and sharpen the image. You now hit OK. Exactly, that's pretty much all you need to do. But I think it's too black. I think it's too black. But I think I love it this way actually. Let's just work with it like this. I think I love it this way. If it's too black, we are going to still adjust it though. All right. So of course you can see the process. You saw the process we went through for us to edit this image. You go to your filter, go to your camera raw, and then just follow through carefully everything I did. All right. We are done with the image. Then you click on your text. You come here, right click to your layer. This is your layer panel. Come to your layer panel, right click and hit on convert to shape. Convert text to shape. Just click on it. Then you come down to your direct selection tool or path selection tool. Just click and hold. It will bring out these options. Then click on the direct selection tool. All right. Then you hold down your alternate to zoom in, hold down your alternate, then you scroll up if you are using your mouse though. All right, if you are not using your mouse, you can just easily click here. If you click on your zoom to zoom in and zoom out. All right, if you hold your alternate, you are zooming out. If you leave your alternate, you are going to be zooming in. All right, but I would suggest you get a mouse if you are using a system. Very important. So now we hold our or take our direction selection tool here. Then just select this part here, these two anchor points here, select the both of them and drag. Immediately you are done selecting them, just like draw a line around here, draw from here to here. This part are selected, then you drag down. Now as you can see, the text is being distorted, or is being the everything is being changed already. So what you now do for you to maintain a straight line is hold down your shift and then drag. Hold down your shift and drag. Okay, let's leave it here. Now you also do the same thing for your T. Come here and highlight the two anchor points here. This one, this one, this one. All the anchor points here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 7 of them. Highlight them. Make sure you don't touch your U. All right. Then you now drag. Just click from one end and drag. Hold down your shift. If you get here, then you now click and select, or yes, highlight only these two anchor points. Once you are done with these ones, highlight only these two anchor points. Then you click from here and drag. Hold down your shift. Until you get to the edge. So that's basically how to create the text manipulation. It's very simple and I know you can follow through. If you have any issues, please go back to the video and rewatch. All right, it's gonna be easier that way. So now we take our shape tool. This is our shape tool here, rectangular shoe or rectangle tool. All right, pick it. Then this is the color we're going to be using. The foreground color should be, this is the color here, 5EBOBF. 5EBOBF. That's the color code for it. Then you come here and drag from here to create the shape. All right, so just draw a rectangular shape. Now make sure it ends here where your U ends. All right, make sure it ends exactly where your U ends. All right, if it doesn't end there, you can just come here and drag small, just so the both of them end at the same place. Then you come to your layer panel. This is my layer panel here. Click on it and drag it down. Okay, it's still our background color. Click on it and drag it down, and you'll have something like this now. All right, so I hope you are carefully following. So if you don't understand anything, as I said, go back and rewatch the video. Now I want to add a shadow. As you can see, the contrast between our background, let's lock it. The contrast between our background and this text here is very poor. So we want to add a shadow. So what you now do is to come to your layer panel, double click on the layer. This is your text layer. Double click on it. This panel layer style is going to be opened. Then click on drop shadow. Now take the settings from me. This is 49. The shadow is 49, the opacity of the shadow. Then distance is 18. Size is 0. Spread is 0. All right, I want the shadow to be thick. So if I increase the size, you see that it is no longer thick. All right, so spread too. I don't want it to spread too much. All right, then okay. Can you see that? This is looking finer than the initial design we created. Nice. All right, so you can now We now have another text we need to write, a peek into the future. A peek. So grab your text tool. This is your text tool. A peek into the future. A peek into the... Then highlight the text, Control A. You come to your property panel. This is where you now reduce the text size. You can do this in two places, all right? You can either do this here or do this here. Yeah, okay. Let's drop it here, just on top, directly on top of the future. A peek into the future. So we're actually almost done with our design. All right. And I honestly, genuinely love it better than the first one I did. So the next thing you do is to take your shape tool, your rectangular tool. All right. Why am I always calling issue? So you draw a shape here. Draw a shape like this here. It should be white. Let's make it white color. What you now do is hit your Control T on your keyboard. Control T on your keyboard. Then right click using your mouse. Right click. Hit your perspective or perspective instead. Then drag from here. This part here. Just drag down. Okay, until you get something like this. Then we now take it up. Leave it here. Then we come here and drag it down. Just, it's basically under the background, the last background shape that we created. All right. Then click on it again. Hit your Control J to duplicate. Control J to duplicate. Then you now hit your Control T. When you hit your Control T, you right click again. Hit flip vertical. Flip vertical. All right. Then you now drag it down. Okay, make sure the both of them start and end at the same place. Yeah. Then you now bring this one up. It should be on top of the image. Exactly, something like this. For this one now, I don't want this part of the text to be showing, so I have to drag it down. It has to be below this one. So let me drag it down. It has to be below this shape here. Exactly. So we have this design now. Then click back on this one. You know, this one is below. This one is above this one. All right. So click on this one that is below or that is under. Hit your add layer or create new layer. Click on create new layer here. When you click on it, it's a shadow layer. You can decide to rename it to shadow layer. Then take your brush tool. Make sure you change your foreground color to black. Change your foreground color to black. Now, if your brush size is not showing here, it's most likely because your caps lock is on. Like if I on my caps lock now, you see the brush size disappears. Okay. But if I turn it off, it appears back. So you just hit your brush here. I want to create a shadow effect just around here. Then because, see, as we are applying the shadow effect, it was reflecting here, it was showing here, and we don't want that. What do? We come here and clip mask this image or this shadow instead to this shape here, to this shape. All right, what do? We just click on it, right click, and click on create clipping mask. Can you see that? It clips to this shape here. All right, so we have created the shadow that we want to. I think that's basically all for that one. Then this is your design now. Now, the truth is that you can actually export this design like this. Just take it to camera roll, probably add grains to it, and you are done with your design. All right, but if you still want to spice it up further, you can add a bit of texture to it. I have a gradient pattern that I would use for it. So you can decide to add the gradient pattern. That's if you want to. It's not compulsory. All right, but it somehow spices up the design somehow. All right, so it's very far. I'm going to make available all these resources. All right, I'm going to make available all these resources for those of us that would like to replicate the design. All right, so for this one, drag it here, then take it down to this our rectangle here. This is the rectangle. All right, just take it down. Make sure it's directly on top of the rectangle. Can you see that it has clip masked into the shape just because it came under this one? Okay, take for instance, it's no longer under this one. Let's just put it on top of this one. Can you see it doesn't clip mask? So what do we do at this point? We have to right click and then hit our create clipping mask, and you automatically clip mask it into your shape. So the next thing we want to do is we want to also add this pattern to this particular subject here. So what we do is very simple. Okay, so we have to duplicate this one first. We have to duplicate this one. Control J to duplicate it. Then we now drag it up. Click, hold, and drag up. All right. When you drag it up, now it is directly above this one. It is directly above this shape here. Then you now click on it. Right click and hit your create clipping mask. Can you see that? We just clip masked it to the image or shape. All right, so that's basically how to do that. Now you can export your design like this. I feel like the design is very okay like this. Honestly, I don't think you should go through the stress of adding the rest of the things you added. Now if you notice, our shadow has disappeared. The reason why our shadow here has disappeared is because this image is not directly on top of this one. So the shadow is only affecting this one, is not also affecting this image or this pattern we added. So if you want the shadow to affect this pattern, you have to drag it down. Can you see that? Did you see the change? So the shadow now also affects this one. All right, then we can even decide to drag the shadow up. Let's make it very obvious. All right, so our design is ready. Okay, the next thing we can do here is we can come over here and where's the okay, this is the pattern. Let's just duplicate the pattern. Control J to duplicate the pattern. Once you duplicate it, you come here, just keep it on top of here, duplicate it again. Control J, drag it down. Another way to duplicate things is just holding your alternate, then right click, click and drag, left click and drag. Can you see that? That's another way. I think it's even an easier way to duplicate things. Then you now select the three of them. Select the three of them. These are the three of them. Then right click and hit your create or convert to smart object. I want to make the three of them one image. Then you now hold down your shift and control. Hold down your shift and control and click your open bracket. If you do that, it will immediately take the image down. All right, now if you don't want to do that, Control Z. If you don't want to do that, you can go through the stress of dragging everything down. You can do that if you want to. All right, but I feel like the other one is easier. Once you are done, come here, change the color to screen. Change the color to screen. Once you do that, come here to fill color and reduce it to like 2. No, let's leave it at 2. Can you see that? So this is basically how to create such design on Photoshop. It's pretty easy. So the last thing I added is grain. Now, it's not compulsory that you add that, but if you want to add it, it's very simple as well. So what you now do is you take a snapshot of this design. You are done with the design, but you want to take a snapshot of the design. It's like merging all the layers together to form one design. So for you to do that, hit your Control Shift Alternate E. Control Shift Alternate and E. Sorry, Control Z. Please, before you do that, make sure you have selected the very first layer here. The very first layer here. Make sure you have selected it. Then you now click click and hold your Control Shift Alternate E. Can you see that it just took a snapshot of the design? It merged all the layers as one. All right. So we can rename it to a peek into the future. Now we convert it to smart object by right clicking, convert to smart object, then filter, camera raw. So this is our design here. You can decide to add grain. Okay, this was what I added to the other design. So you can decide to add it, you can decide to leave it. All right, but because I added it to the other design, for this design I'm going to just leave it. All right, I'm going to leave it. Let me delete the smart object. Then you can now right click if you want to export easily on Photoshop, especially if you are working with different artboards. You can right click and click on quick export as PNG. Quick export as PNG. It will just export the design for you. Or you can come to file, come to export, quick export as PNG, or quick export as any one of them that you want to use. So that's basically how to create such a beautiful design on Photoshop.